Hey y'all, this is Yak Squatch Fishing. I wanted to go over a short tutorial of how I like to approach searching tidal creeks, mangrove creeks, environments like that to find where fish are hanging out. One of my favorite baits to use is a small crankbait. In this case, it's a 3-inch X-Wrap with a dark blue back and then gold or copper sides. On this one, I had switched out the hooks, the original treble hooks, for single inline hooks a while ago when the original treble hooks eventually rusted and needed to be replaced. For me personally, I like to do that for a lot of my hard baits because it's easier on the fish as well as easier on me and kind of reduces the chances of getting hooked. And if I do get hooked, it's not nearly as bad as dealing with treble hooks. You don't have to do that. You can just fish them the way they are, straight out of the box. So again, this is just one example. There are other lure types you can do this with. You can do this with soft plastic paddle tails. You can do this with spoons as well. Really any small lure that you can just retrieve or troll in a straight line. So this particular video is going to be about trolling through these marshy tidal and mangrove creeks. All right, so I am borrowing a technique from Captain CA from Flats Class. I'm sure Flats Class TV. I'm sure a lot of you will have probably seen his videos where he does drawings on the whiteboard. So here's an overview of a tidal creek. This arrow indicates the direction of the flow. So this is kind of a representation of some of the parts of that creek that you'll see on the short video clips coming up where I'm actually catching fish. So you typically have a shallow straightaway that's going to be probably 2 to 3 feet deep is fairly typical of most creeks. Then when you get to the curve, this has 2 bends in it, just this example. What you often see is on the inner bank is a built up shallow sandbar. And then on the outer part of the curve, there's going to be a deep hole where the water, as it speeds around this curve, will scour the bottom and dig a hole. And these holes, depending on the creek and what part of the creek, can be anywhere from 4 or 5 feet deep up to 10 or 12 feet deep. It can vary quite a bit. But these curves, these holes that are in the curves, are the most important part that you're going to want to focus on these creeks. All right, so this drawing is a cutaway from the side view of what one of these creeks might look like. So this arrow again is indicating the water flow. Ideally, if you can, troll with the water flow to give yourself a little bit more of a natural presentation, but that's not absolutely necessary. And in the video clips that you're about to see, I'm actually going upstream because I filmed this at the end of a day filming a different video, and I just wanted to troll as I was going back to the launch. So I was actually going upstream on the example you're about to see. But ideally, if you can, start at the top and work your way down the creek. So on the straightaways, typically what you'll find is just single fish, maybe 2 fish, just kind of transiting basically between these deeper holes. These deeper holes are the most important thing, but you want to always be trolling or pulling some sort of a lure through even the shallow part of the creeks because you may run across one of these transient fish just randomly located at any point on that creek. Once you get to these holes, remember these are typically going to be on the outside of any of these creek bends. So the water or the bottom is going to drop off and you'll typically have an aggregation of fish sitting just below the drop-off facing the current because shrimp and bait fish will be getting pushed by the current and drop into these almost into the fish's mouths. Now, not every bend or hole in the bend will have fish, but when you do find concentrations of fish, they're going to be in these holes in the creek bends. So now what you're going to see on the video coming up is I caught a couple of fish, a trout and a snook just kind of out in one of these open straightaways, just kind of randomly transiting between holes. And then the bigger snook that's in the video coming up was just as I dropped off into one of the holes in the creek beds. Also, that redfish coming up, you're going to see it was going the opposite direction. I was in the creek bed, and then that crankbait hit this slope with its lip and bounced up the slope. And as it was bouncing up is when that redfish hit. So oftentimes when your lure, a crankbait in particular is what I like to use, is transitioning from this deep water and hitting the slope, or vice versa. If it's bouncing, 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 and then all of a sudden it drops into this little bit deeper water. Those two types of things are where you are most likely to get bit. So, all right, that's enough talking. So hopefully y'all enjoy the clips coming up. Whoop, there's a fish. Come on, buddy. What do we have here? Oh yeah, that's a nice snook. On a little crankbait. Whoop, 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 whoop. There we go. Let's get you unhooked real quick. There we go. Whoop. There's another fish. That's a good fish. He's not coming to the surface. Wonder if it's... Oh, is that a little red? It is a little red. Oh, nope, nope, it's trout. It's a trout. That is a nice trout. Whoop. Swing him. His hands wet because he's definitely a keeper, but we've already got our limit, so he's going bye-bye. There we go. Oh, there's another fish. What do we have here? Oh, it's a snook. Man, this creek is on fire right now. He is going. He is feisty. Got the hooked. Hold still, sir. Let's get you unhooked. There we go. Pretty little. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Pretty little snook. Oh, he's got some marks. I wonder if a dolphin messed with him. So what you should notice from this clip, I've just come off of a straightaway into a creek bend and I'm making the turn. The GoPro bubble lens makes it look like I'm further from that left bank than I actually am. I'm pretty close to it, as close as I could be without hitting the bottom with my fins. So my kayak is going over that deepest part of the creek bend, that hole. The lure is still a good 100 feet behind me, so it's just barely now getting off the shallow straightaway and dropping into that hole. Now my kayak is curving, finishing the curve, finishing the turn, and getting into the straightaway, but the lure is still 100 feet behind me or so. So it's going through the deepest part of the hole, but it's about to hit, the lip on that crankbait is about to hit and start bouncing up the slope. So you'll see that in a moment, and that's when I get bit by that redfish, as soon as that crankbait starts bouncing up the slope. So, and this is going to be the last fish of the video, so enjoy the rest. There we go. There's a fish. Now, if you'll notice, when I'm getting bit while I'm trolling, I'm not setting the hook because the oh, that's a little redfish. The weight and momentum of the kayak moving forward pretty much does it for me, and also the fish hitting the lure as well. All right, we're gonna swing him. Whoa, there we go. Oh, and he came off. Beautiful little red fish. Take a quick picture there.